What's going on, guys? Ribombees right now, and we're back with the GPL week number 3. Your Royal Bournemouth Ribombees are taking on the big Bemetal and coach Arvid. Arvid, of course, we know from the ADL. We've played a couple of times, we've beat him every time so far, so a pretty interesting matchup for us. He's got a very, very scary team. He's had a somewhat indifferent start to the season like we have. We're both 1-1, I believe, but my differential is higher. So, kind of an interesting one. He's got a very, very difficult team to prep for. He's got a lot of powerful ones and some questionable ones too. My big concern about this team when I did the post-draft power rankings is I don't really see a good team of 6. He has made a lot of changes, and I definitely think the changes have improved his team. I still don't agree with him dropping Ribombees. But speaking of transfers, for those who missed my transactions video, for this week we dropped Breviary for Neuvern. So that may or may not feature in this match. You'll know as soon as we get there. But as always, guys, if you're not interested in the Teambuilder segment, down below in the pinned comments there is going to be a timestamp to where the battle starts. Feel free to go skip that if you would like to. But for those of you who are still here, let's talk about Arvid's team, let's talk about my team, what we brought and why we brought it. So his G-Max was formerly Rillaboom, it is now Charizard. Kind of an interesting choice of G-Max. It does work decently on both the physical and special side. Gets Airstream on both sides thanks to Acrobatics and Hurricane. I don't know which side he's going to go on, to be honest. I feel like he probably more likely goes special for Solar Beam access, for Mudsdale and stuff like that. But he could also run physical and go Earthquake for Carcol, which is possible to come this match, and stuff like that. Obviously, with its regulation of only being able to hold a Pokeball, it can't take advantage of heavy duty boots, which means it is quad weak to rocks, which is pretty scary for it. But with access to max Airstream, it could definitely be annoying. It's a very, very solid mon in general. I think it hits very hard, so I gotta watch out for this thing. Do need to be careful. It's got enough coverage moves that it can hit my whole team, but I do have relatively okay checks for it, so maybe it comes decently, but I'm not sure. Next up is kind of the big conundrum for Arvid, really, is his Melmetal. Now, Melmetal's a phenomenal Pokemon, hits incredibly hard, it's got amazing stats across the board except the Spadef and Speed. It's got Iron Fist, of course, which means all his punching moves, including Double Iron Bash, does a hell of a lot of damage. It's disgusting how strong it is. It gets all the elemental punches as well. Gets Earthquake, gets Darkest Lariat, gets a hell of a lot of things to cover my team. The issue is I have a lot of answers for it. I have things like Volcarona, I have things like Mudsdale, Carcol, Neuvern now on my team gets fire moves that can hit it. Like, I've got a lot of Pokemon that gets access to firefighting or ground moves. So I don't really think Melmetal has the best matchup here, but I won't be surprised if it comes. I think it's got a lot of power. I do think now he's dropped Rillaboom, unless he brings physical Zard, he doesn't have the best physical breakers at all outside of Melmetal now, so it may well come now with this new look lineup, but I'm not entirely sure. Next up is Mew, incredibly versatile, can be literally anything, which is kind of scary, definitely a problem. I expect it to be more utility in this matchup. I don't think it has the best matchup anyway. It does get nuked by things like Pangoro if it's not packing Dazzling Gleam, which I expect it to pack Dazzling Gleam. I don't see why it wouldn't, but you never quite know. Obviously with Synchronize, it's actually kind of annoying. If I burn it, it can burn me, which could suck, and stuff like that. So I need to be careful around this thing. Could definitely be a problem. It could also transform into me, which is something that is underrated, but it is a possibility. Next up is one of my favourite Pokemon, is Goodra. A Goodra, of course, very specially bulky, typically seen with an AV, but can also be ran offensively. This thing's got a very, very wide move pool. It can definitely do a lot of different things. I had it last season, of course, and most people remember my Goodra. Goodra is actually pretty darn solid. Very nice abilities and access to Hydration, Gooey, and Sap Sipper. If he brings it, I think he brings Gooey. I think he needs to lower some of the speed tiers on my mons. So that could be an interesting little tech that he might run. Gets coverage moves like Power Whip and Sludge Bomb and stuff like that. So it gets a lot of things. Definitely see it. Could also be Acid Armor Body Press. I'm not entirely convinced by that one. It does kind of get walled by Mudsdale if he brings that, but we'll see. Next up is Whimsicott. Very, very good pickup, in my opinion. Whimsicott, incredibly versatile Pokemon, can be very supportive, gets a lot of utility moves like U-Turn, Tailwind, Trick Room, and stuff like that. Gets Subseed, of course, which is the annoying set that I ran last season that Denistrio absolutely loves. Just kidding. It could also be offensive, can be Scarf, can be Specs. It does get a lot of moves, so could be interesting. Not entirely sure Whimsicott has the best matchup, but I think it is decent enough to bring. Can be a solid enough answer to things like my Rotom and stuff like that. Obviously, its speed team is faster than things like my Volcarona, so I would need to set up on it if I could. Does also get T-Wave, which could be a bit of a nightmare. Next up is Ribombees. I actually really love this Pokemon. Very, very good spin blocker, very decent physical bulk. Gets a decent amount of moves. Is a rocker, if I remember right. Does get Toxic Spikes. Does get a lot of coverage, so could be a problem. Definitely could be a problem. I do have Pangoro though. Pangoro generally handles it pretty nicely, so we'll see if this thing comes. I think it's a good Pokemon to bring in any matchup, so we'll see. Next up is Drapion. He's been using this a lot as like a Swords Dancing lead set. I could see it coming. I could definitely see it coming up. Gets Battle Armor, which is a nice ability, prevent it from getting crits. Does also get Sniper, which is a pretty solid ability from critical hit strikes. Could be interesting. Don't remember if this is the one that gets Toxic Spikes. I think it is. I think it's Skuntank that gets Defog, so it's a definite interesting bring if he does bring it. I'm kind of 50-50 on this one, though. Also, Pokemon I'm 50-50 on is Mantine. If he doesn't bring this, I think his only defoggers are going to be on Whimsicott or Mew. I don't think Charizard has enough room to run it. Mantine actually relatively good on the special bulk side. Kind of lackluster physically bulky, though. Can be an okay pivot into a couple of my mons. It's a decent answer for Volcarona, for example, as Volcarona doesn't really get any moves that hits it. And stuff like that. So it could be interesting. Could definitely be worth the bring. It does kind of get nuked by Pangoro if it stays in on it, though. That's something to bear in mind. But Mantine is faster than Pangoro naturally, so wouldn't be too surprised to see Mantine come. Next up is Hitmontop. Decent Intimidate Mon. Could be Technician, of course. It's a Rapid Spinner. Still don't like it in singles format. Still not convinced by it, even with Triple Axle now. It does hit pretty hard, though. Triple Axle is actually kind of strong on this thing if it's Technician. So, could be interesting. Could be a better remover than some of his defoggers, unless he brings Defog Whimsicott, which I feel like is his best defogger on his team now. So, kind of interesting. Hitmontop's got a bit of a troubling matchup. I can do well against Pangoro, I guess, but that's about as much as it does. Next up is Miltank. Pretty fast Pokemon, same speed as Volcarona. Gets rocks, gets a few little coverage moves. Also a Sap Sippermon, also Thick Fat. Could be interesting. Not too sure about Miltank though. If it does come, it's like a utility rocker and hope it doesn't get punched in the face by a Pangoro. Doesn't really do much to Mudsdale either, and I can just body press it, so that could be a problem. But yeah, pretty solid mon in general. And last up is my baby mascot, of course, Cutiefly. I don't see this coming. It is a web setter, but that's about as much as it can do. It's way too frail. Obviously, even if you sash it, what's it really going to be able to do after a Quiver Dance? Probably nothing. So, pretty troubling matchup for Cutiefly. Don't see it coming. It's the weaker fairy on his team as he has Whimsicott. So, yeah, don't see it coming. It's possible. It's not likely in my opinion. Alright, so with all that being said, let's look at my team, what we brought, and why we're bringing it. So, first up on the list, I don't think it comes as any surprise, is going to be Volcarona. We're running a Quiver Dance set this week. Pretty much, if I get a Quiver Dance up, I can pretty much beat everything on this team with this current moveset. The only thing I don't necessarily hit all that hard is Goodra, or Charizard. Neither of those I hit particularly hard. Both of those do get coverage to hit Volcarona, but I can switch out on that, and you'll see that with the rest of my team anyway. Rocking heavy duty boots in case he does bring a rocker and like Runerigus or something like that, or Miltank. One of the two. I don't really want hazards on my side of the field if I can avoid it. And if I can get Volcarona in, then we're in a pretty good spot. Flame Body is also a nice ability. If I can burn off the Melmetal, that would really significantly cripple that thing to make it a little bit less useful. It does get nuked by a Flamethrower at +1 anyway, so it's not the biggest deal. Giga Drain is kind of a relatively okay neutral coverage move here. I was looking at Psychic or something like that, but it does nothing to Melmetal on Mew, so I didn't see the point. Giga Drain is okay, can hit a lot of the team, can be an okay neutral hit on Mantine, for example, and things like that. So, could be an interesting set, definitely a sweeper set. I haven't had a chance to use Volcarona too well this season, I haven't played it all that well so far, so hopefully we can put it to good use this time around. Next up on the list is going to be Rotom. We're bringing Scarf again. I feel like we need the Scarf this week. I'm running enough speed on this set to outspeed a Whimsicott if it's not scarfed. So that's decent enough. Giving me a little bit of special attack investment with the Modest Nature means that I can actually do a ton to the Charizard unless it's G-maxed. I do an actual ton to pretty much everything. I can Hydro Pump, nuke the Runerigus, and Discharge really does hit everything else relatively okay. If I can get paralysis on things like the Zard, the Mew, and stuff like that, maybe even the Goodra, could be very solid for us. Definitely worth it. And of course Volt Switch for pivoting out and Defog in case hazards become a problem. Don't see hazards being too much of an issue. Honestly, as many hazard setters as he has and as lots of removers as he has, I don't see how big a deal hazards is for my team. So, it can be an interesting one. Next up is going to be Mudsdale, of course. We're going back to our standard Mudsdale style set for this generation, of course. Running pretty much the best we can do. We're running Fizdef, Rocky Helmet with a tiny little bit of speed. This little bit of speed actually ensures we outspeed Melmetal, so it's actually kind of worth it for us to run that. Earthquake, Body Press, Rocks, and Rock Tomb. Rocks are very important for us if we can get Rocks up and the Charizard is unable to switch in without them being off the field. We can actually do a ton to him. Rock Tomb is also nice because it cancels out the Airstreams. If this is a physical Zard, it's actually even more of a problem for him. Body Press, if we can get set up, actually can deal a lot to the Melmetal. And Earthquake, of course, generally very solid stab move this week, as we're not going to be running a certain couple of things this week, so hopefully we can put this to good use. Obviously, I need to be careful how many times I switch this thing in and hope it doesn't get toxic or anything like that. But yeah, this could be a very, very strong set. It could be a very solid matchup. Rocky Helmet is very nice, especially for Melmetal, if I can get a lot of chip off on it. Using Rocky Helmet, it makes it easier for Earthquake or Body Press to kill, so that definitely helps us out a lot as well. And if we can nail the prediction on the Zard, that will be even better. Get the Rock Tomb off. I'll do about half, most likely, depending on its spread. So I'm pretty excited for the Mudsdale, as always. You guys know me and my Mudsdale. I love this thing way too much. Next up is going to be Mr. Underrated himself, Pangoro, running a rather unusual set this week. We're actually running Assault Vest. This allows me to live some special hits, especially from the Goodra and potentially from Mew. Don't necessarily have a Dazzling Gleam, but I live things like Vacuum Wave and stuff like that. We're running 108 speed. This is enough to outspeed Mantine if it is not speed invested and it's trying to like speed creep me out, creeping it. 108 speed means I guarantee to outspeed it if it tries to run 4 speed. In Wild Fizzy running Iron Fist this week. We've got 3 big punching moves. Bullet Punch is nice for Whimsicott and Cutiefly if it comes. Drain Punch can actually do a lot to Melmetal. If I get chipped out damage off on it, Drain Punch can potentially knock it out. Thunder Punch is primarily there for Mantine, but also there for Charizard if it comes. And then, of course, Darkest Lariat is there for things like the Runerigus. Pretty solid set in general. I haven't been able to use Pangoro too well so far. I did alright in Game 1, actually, but I didn't do so well last week, so hopefully I use it better this time. The AV just gives us some longevity that we need. I ran Drain Punch instead of Close Combat because we're running Iron Fist. Drain Punch actually is just as good without the drawback of the defense drops, so fingers crossed this thing can come in, just click buttons. As we are AV, we can switch moves, which is nice for us. We're not forced into a move and then having to switch out if needs be. Alright, next up on the team is going to be our newcomer. It's going to be Noivern, running Expert Belt with enough speed to outspeed non-scarf Whimsicott. And it can actually nuke with a flamethrower, which is pretty nice with the Expert Belt. Running Infiltrator in case it's a sub-seed Whimsicott. The sub actually kills Whimsicott through flamethrower, so that's pretty nice. Draco Meteor nukes pretty much everything except Melmetal. Roost and U-turn, pretty much useful enough moves. As we're not running heavy duty boots on this, if I do have to switch this thing on rocks, Roost is nice for longevity. U-turn, of course, is solid for pivoting out, especially if I'm running into things like the Runerigus, which I don't really touch all that much. Draco hits pretty hard if I hit it, of course. I don't have the best record of hitting Draco Meteors, but you never know. We might hit this one, of course. Flamethrower can actually really hurt Melmetal if I'm lucky. Hopefully I can get lucky on it. It is a potential 2-shot, but it's not the best 2-shot in the world. But yeah, hopefully Noivern on its debut puts in some work. And last but by no means least is probably the riskiest pick on here. But if he doesn't bring Melmetal, this is a perfect bring. It's actually going to be Mimikyu. Running Life Orb this week, just for packing a little bit of punch. SD, Shadow Sneak, Play Rough, and Drain Punch. Pretty standard set. running enough speed to outspeed Drapion if he brings it. Generally speaking, that's the fastest thing we can outspeed unless we're Scarfed, which I don't really like Scarf Mimikyu all that much personally. But yeah, Shadow Sneak is not too bad as a revenge option. Player Off, if I can actually set it up, can actually do quite a lot of damage to things like the Goodra and stuff. Drain Punch, of course, is there for Bemetal primarily. It's also a decent neutral stab on Drapion. So, that's going to be our team. Let us know how you think we're going to get on. But either way, I'm going to cut right here and I'll go straight to the battle. See you in a bit. Alright guys, we are here, we are connected with, of course, Arvid. If you, of course, skip the team builder, welcome in guys. Your Bomber for Ribombees is taking on the big Bemetal and Coach Arvid. You can see what I think he's bringing down below the main screen, but quick TLDR for you on our team. We are bringing a Quiver-Dance, 3 attacks of Volcarona, which is max speed to speed tie with Mew if it comes. We're bringing in Scarf Red and Wash with enough speed to outspeed Whimsicott. We're bringing a Rocky Helmet, physically defensive Mudsdale, should be strong enough to deal with Bemetal potentially. We're bringing our newcomer, Sennheiser the Noivern. It's just an expert belt with enough speed to outspeed Whimsicott as well. With Dracomedia Flamethrower, U-Turn and Roost. We've got our Pangoro, of course, Mr. Underrated himself. We're running AV this week, Iron Fist set, Bullet Punch, Drain Punch. Forget the last move now. It's giving me Darkest Lariat. Oh, Thunder Punch for Mantine. And we're bringing Mimikyu, which is a standard SD set with enough speed to outspeed Drapion. If Drapion comes, we're going to connect with Arvid, of course. Good luck, my friend. Have fun. Let's see what you brought. So he does bring the Bemetal. Brings exactly what I expected, except he brings Mantine instead of Runerigus. I'm okay with that. So, this is a pretty awkward team for us to play against. I'm pretty happy to see Mantine. Pangoro kind of puts in a work on that thing. So, let me just grab Mantine. Okay, so his only rocker is Mew. So, that's good to know. His defog is Mew, Mantine, Whimsicott, and Charizard, but I don't think Charizard has the time to run it. So, lead-wise for him, I expect him to potentially lead the Mew. Just say good luck, have fun, and chat. Okay, so I can just simply lead Noivern? Noivern is kind of good against everything. Same with Rotom. I also kind of like leading Pangoro, actually. Pangoro actually does a lot of work against this team. Or I could just leave Mudsdale and go for rocks, but I'm not sure how worth that is for me. I mean, it would definitely be good against the Zard. How do I want to play this? I think if I'm him, I just lead the Whimsicott. I just have to hope it's not Scarfed. If that's the case. In fact, hold on. Can Pangoro Oko Whimsicott? If Whimsicott is Scarfed. Not really. I think we lead Noivern. He actually leads Mantine, so I could have led Pangoro there. Kind of interesting that he led with this. How much does Mantine do? If it's offensive to Pangoro. I mean, Hurricane doesn't two-shot me. He would outspeed me, though, if he's max speed. So, I can U-turn here and go into Rotom. Because he really doesn't touch me. So that's what we'll go for. Gonna U-turn out. So he actually just goes straight into the Charizard, so we get a crit turn one, that's kind of funny. So how much does this do to Charizard if it G-maxes? Because there's a good chance it's got Solar Beam. It doesn't kill me. Hydro Pump has a chance to two-shot him if I hit. How much is he doing to Pangoro? He's a roll to kill Pangoro from Max. We'll go to Rotom. So I can do one of two things here. He has no ground type, so I get a free Volt Switch. As this thing's not gonna hold heavy duty boots regardless. Because I expect him to potentially max Overgrowth here, so I could actually go into Volk. But if he Airstreams, I die. So that's not a risk I'm willing to take. But I feel like he has to Overgrowth here. What's he doing to Noivern if he maxes? He's doing a chunk. A chunk that I'm not comfortable with taking. I do think we have to Volt Switch. Could also go into Mimikyu. What's he doing to Mimikyu? Wildfire does a lot. I don't feel like Mimikyu actually does much this match, honestly, aside from Revenge the Mew. I could Discharge here, get a decent chunk off, or I could Hydro Pump. But the problem with Hydro Pumping is I risk the roll. Although I do actually take the Overgrowth, if he's timid. He's modest though. If he's modest, it does a lot. I'm gonna Volt Switch. As we do actually get the read right, we do actually get the switch. Which is good for us. So I can go Mimikyu here. I mean, he could have Sludge Bomb. So how annoying would that be for me if he does? How much does Mimikyu do to Goodra? Player off actually Oko's it, unboosted. Let's go to Mimikyu. So I expect him to go Melmetal here. Because he's going to expect to play rough. How much does a +2 Drain Punch do to Melmetal? Does half. Wow. That's a problem. Because, yeah, I really don't touch this Melmetal. It's unfortunate. He might just drop the Goodra here. Goodra does not have the best matchup, personally, in my opinion. So I could just straight up go for Play Rough. I most likely outspeed it. Or I could just straight up go for the Swords Dance. It's a kind of a risky play. What else could he go for? Could go back into Zard. We'll go for the Play Rough though. Yeah. I should have gone for it, but that's fine. We did 12%. We do actually drop his attack stat, which is also kind of nice for us. I don't think it's going to matter though, because this thing hits like an absolute drug. Can my Mudsdale switch in on this? It can. So that's what we're doing. We're going straight into Mudsdale. So we do see the double iron bash. That does so much. Alright. So we got a good chip on this thing, which is nice. Mudsdale is now at +2. Body press can kill this thing. But he probably predicts that. I also kind of want to go for Rock Tomb and catch the Zard. Because at this point, another double Iron Bash doesn't kill me. It barely does anything to me for that matter. I could get rocks up. Or I can just go for the body press anyway. How much is it going to do to Charizard? Does a decent amount. Rock Tomb has a chance to kill though. Kinda wanna go for the Rock Tomb. Yash goes Mantine, so we do actually get a good read here anyway. Get a bit of chip damage off. We're gonna see how much defense investment this Mantine has. This looks to be very physically defensive to me. Definitely max HP. I did 30%. Yeah, he's got to be near max defense. Okay. Good to know. So we're going to go back into Rotom. Does go for the Scald. Burn would suck. We got it. That's unfortunate for us. But that's fine either way. So I can discharge here. I mean, he doesn't really have anything that wants to take a discharge. He went into Goodra last time. Does a Volt Switch kill then? Volt Switch does actually kill. Yeah, she has Whimsicott this time, okay. Interesting switch. Do I not just go Volcarona? Like, what can Whimsicott do to me? Let's say if your specs. You don't kill me with anything. Okay. Maybe I actually should have gone Noivern and gone for the Flamethrower, but I could Quiver Dance on him here. Or I can just go for the Flamethrower, because he dies anyway. You could also go to Zard. I need to keep this thing around though for Metal. We'll go for Flamethrower. Switcheroo. That's fine by me. That's fine, because Whimsicott is gone. So I lose my heavy duty boots, which does kind of suck. Here comes the Mantine, which is probably just going to try and scold me. But again, I just go to Rotom every time. No reason not to. Toxic isn't going to work. Okay, so now he doesn't have Whimsicott anymore. And Whimsicott was kind of annoying for Pangoro, so Pangoro suddenly gets a hell of a lot more useful in this match. So, Banded kind of cripbles my Evoke, because I can't set up anymore. But I do a lot of damage either way. I'm going to Volt Switch again. No reason not to. Goes into Goodra, that's fine. We're getting a little bit more chip damage off on this thing. How much range do I need for Noivern to kill Goodra? If it's offensive, I kill it now. Providing I hit the Draco. He's kind of in range if he's max HP, but he could be Assault Vest, which means he lives it. If he is Assault Vest, how much range do I need? Because I want to play around this Gudra carefully. Okay, I need 50 to 60%, so I need a bit more chip on this thing. Let's go to Mimikyu then. So he went Bemetal on this last time. I could Sword Stance here then, predicting it. We haven't seen this thing's item yet. He did do a chunk to my Mudsdale though. So I'm guessing he's banded. So he switched out on this last time. He knows I have Player Earth. Does +2 Shadow Sneak do a lot to Mew? I would imagine it would. Does over half. It's not too bad. I kind of want a Sword Stance though. Why not? Let's go for Sword Stance. Let's go to Charizard this time. Okay. So I'm +2. What am I doing to Charizard? And also, what can this thing do to me? I'm not really doing much to it. I do want to see what set this thing is. So, Volk kind of feels like the least useful member of my team. But as it is a fire type, it is kind of a little safe against the wildfire. My Play Rough is doing a chunk to him. So I kind of want to go for it. But at the same time, I kind of want to keep the disguise on my Mimikyu. Rotom's too risky because it's in range of an Overgrowth. Same with Mudsdale. Thunder Punch does a chunk, but I don't live 2. Let's go for the Play Rough. Because he does max it this time, okay. Wildfire, that's fine. Gonna get a bit of chip off. All I need is chip on this thing. I do actually want to keep this thing around though. Because this can revenge kill the Mew, so... Let's go and have an arrow here. I think it's worth it. He could Airstream, which would be annoying. Although... it's difficult to know how much damage this would have done. How much did it do? The wildfire did what? Obviously nothing because it's decoyed right now. I think I Shadow Sneak and get some chip damage off. But I really want to keep this thing because how do I beat Gudra without Mimikyu? I chip it down and go into Noivern. It's kind of how I beat it. I don't have the best ways to chip it down without Mimikyu though. I think we should keep Mimikyu around. I don't think Volk has the best usefulness in this match anymore, so let's go into Volcarona. We do see the Overgrowth, so we get a good read there. So we're currently speed tying right now. So I wonder how much my flamethrower is doing. It's doing nothing, but it's gonna do some things. I'm just concerned about him airstreaming. Although if he does airstream, Noivern I'd imagine takes it. Yeah, Noivern eats it. How much did he do after that? He doesn't do much. I would kill him with a Draco Meteor after this. But again, I kind of want to keep Volk around a little bit. Let's go to Pangoro. We do see the airstream, okay. Ooh, that did a lot. So that's my Pangoro gone. Okay. So is that physical, then, to do that much damage? No, it's just the roll. Alright, that's unfortunate for us. We probably shouldn't have lost Pangoro like that. Maybe that was a misplay. I'll have to watch that back after the game and kind of see if I could have done something better there. But we're none the wiser whether this is physical or special. But we know he can't Dynamax anymore. He's kind of in range for a Draco Meteor, though. I mean, he's definitely in range for a Draco Meteor. So yeah, let's go to Sennheiser then. I think we just drop a Draco. Because nothing really wants to take one. So we'll get an idea if this Charizard is physical or special here. Goes in a Metal, so I could have Flamethrower there. You get a good bit of chip. Alright. So, question. At -2, do I kill this Metal? It's a roll that I don't like the look of. So we'll go to Mudsdale then. Although I should actually U-turn here and see what he goes for. I kind of like U-turning. Because I'll get some damage on something. He might think I still killed him here. I'm starting to feel like losing Pangoro was a misplay. Although I can still beat the Mew. So he did stay in. So yeah, we go to Mudsdale. It's the safest switch I have. As he does have Ice Punch. Good prep on his part to bring that. So we do lose Mudsdale. But that's fine. Because now he's in range for a Draco. And again, he has nothing that takes this. But as we've seen the Ice Punch, we're kind of in an interesting spot here. Can I Volt Switch kill him at this range? Yeah, Volt Switch kills. So I don't see a reason to not Volt Switch here. So that's what we'll go for. I could actually just Discharge here, to be fair. Nothing really appreciates it. But yeah, we're gonna Volt Switch as he does stay in and give me Metal. I appreciate that. So Metal's gone. So now the question is, what do I go into? So So we still haven't seen this Mew yet. We don't know what this Mew does. We know everything else pretty much. So let's go into Noivern. We'll get a U-turn off on something. Because we outspeed everything on his team now, barring any Scarfers. So Volk kind of doesn't do anything anymore. He could go into Mantine. Could definitely see that being a thing. But if he does, I just U-turn into Rotom again. And then I get a free Volt Switch on something. I want to know what this Mew is. Because we haven't seen it yet. Which is a little troubling. Could be a lot of things. So it goes back into Goodra. That tells me that this is probably Assault Vest. Because you don't live a Draco if I click it. If you're not. Yeah, like, I feel like you'd need to be Assault Vest to be able to live a hit. So we're gonna U-turn here. He's Scarfed. Wow. He is a Scarf Goodra. Well played, son. Well played. I almost went straight into Mimikyu there. I almost went for that. Good prep, dude. Good prep. I can appreciate that. That's well played. So I misplayed there. I think I may have lost the game because of that. Although I get a free Mimikyu now, though. Okay, so he has to switch. Which means I get a Swords Dance up. So now the question is, what do I do with these Shadow Balls? So we know this thing is Scarf now. So let's look at Charizard. So I can't G-Max anymore. I have to max to kill, but Play Rough kills pretty often. So the fact that this is Scarfed is actually very good for him. We'll go for the Play Rough, as he does go the Mantine, so we are going to get some damage off. Alright. So that looks like a pretty good roll to us. Let's count this Mantine. We need to keep this Mimikyu around either way, so we're going to go to Rhythm. So I need a Discharge, basically. That's what this game is telling me now. I need to go into Rotom and click Discharge. So I need him to not make a switch here. Or I go for Discharge and get the Paralysis on the Goodra. That's the way I get back into this game. So now looking at this, throwing Pangoro away was a mistake. But I think the Noivern play was very well done on his end. So he does actually switch into Charizard. So I get a free Discharge off here. I would imagine there's kills. Right, let me cancel that. I need to check. Against Charizard. Oh yeah, I kill. For sure. So that would explain why he kept switching into Goodra. Okay. If I can get a power off on it, that's going to be insane. Again, Volcarona's really not doing anything. We'll kill the Charizard. That's fine. Okay, so here comes the Goodra again. So we're going to Volcarona because this is the most expendable. It's the Thunderbolt, it just does nothing. So I think we Bug Buzz. I think Bug Buzz is the most damage I can do. Yeah, Bug Buzz does the most. Wait, this thing gets Hydro Pump? I never knew that. That's cool. Gonna go for the Bug Buzz. Oh, we went into Mew. That's a really good play for us. So let's see if we can win the speed tie. We do. Okay, Mew's gone. Okay. We can still win this. So what's the odds he goes Hydro Pump here? Probably pretty high because it kills me. So let's go to Mimikyu then. Surf actually. Alright. So that does nothing to my Rotom. So I think we Shadow Sneak for damage here. We get a crit, which is pretty fortunate. So now I go into my Rotom. Does Discharge kill? I mean, he's doing nothing to me. I actually do more to him. Let's go for the Discharge. Goes into Mantine, that's fine. Mantine is gone. Okay. So now we're in an interesting spot. So I think he has to go for Draco. Because that's the only move he has that can kill me, unless he's got like a special move. I kind of just want to Discharge. How much is my Bug Buzz doing to this Goodra? Bug Buzz actually kills it at this range. We'll go for the Discharge. Surf is a roll to kill me. If I get the power, that's perfect. I think he has to know that he has to go for Draco here. Because Draco kills me pretty much 90% of the time. Yeah, he goes for the Draco and does get the roll. So Rotom goes down. I also forgot to take Mimikyu off the layout. Whoops. So, we know he's Scarf now. A -2 Draco Meteor, if it crits me, will kill me. And he doesn't crit me, so we do take the win here. A much needed win, has to be said. GG's to Arvid, that was a fantastic game, dude. I really love that Scarf Gudra set. Very well played, dude. I did not even consider Gudra being scarfed. So that was well played on your end. I should have thought about that. I definitely threw Pangoro away. Kind of unnecessarily. That may have hindered me. It may not have hindered me. Not entirely sure. I have to watch this game back to see how much that really did matter. But yeah, I think you played very well, dude. This was a very, very good showing for you. You've definitely improved a lot since I played you in the ADL days. So, good luck for the rest of the season, dude. It was a pleasure battling you as always. But either way, guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Ribombees Teacher. I'm your coach of the Royal Bournemouth Ribombees. Stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.